Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all of you are doing well and staying safe. Thank you for joining us for this webinar today for the SAW Economic Update. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind a couple of you all about some housekeeping items. To reduce the background noise, everyone has been muted. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our website later today. After the presentation, we will be taking questions, so feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself. And at the end of the presentation, our presenters will be happy to answer as many questions as possible. Today, we have been very fortunate to have our local economic developers to give us an update. We have Greg Hitchen of Waynesboro, Billy Vaughn of Stanton City, and Rebecca Castle of Augusta County. So thank you all so much for joining us today. I know you all are super busy. So thank you so much for taking time out today and giving us a good update of what's going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Greg.
Great, thanks very much, Kim, and thank you to the Chamber for this opportunity to talk a little about what's happening in our economy with this economic update. And if you ever listened to one of our presentations before, you have probably heard us say that economic development is a team sport. And while that is certainly true in our everyday life, it is absolutely true in our time of crisis. So the trust, go ahead, and Nick, if you would change the slide. So our trust and collaboration that we've built up over years of working together have really enabled us to jump right in to work on this crisis and turn our economy around. We've called ourselves the SAW MSA Recovery Task Force for this purpose. And we've been working since the beginning on ways for relief, on a way to recovery, and how we can really work in our economy to move forward. Today, go ahead, Nick, we're going to talk about a few major subjects. So I'm going to talk about the Recovery Task Force, and we'll jump into these other really important topics. And as Kim mentioned, have room for questions at the end. We are going to skip long introductions and long bios, so we have plenty of opportunity for content and questions. And we've asked some of our partners to talk. Not everyone is going to speak today, but everyone has had a role in what we're trying to put together today. Go ahead, Nick. So in our MSA, there were over 5,000 business establishments. And by the Small Business Administration definition of 500 employees or less, all but a few are small business. In fact, a vast majority of the businesses in the Stanton, Augusta, Waynesboro area have less than 50 employees. Coupled with our top two major employment sectors of retail and hospitality and accommodation, puts our region at risk, our economy at risk. In fact, one economist who's evaluated MSAs across the country, they put us at the middle of the spectrum for economic risk. So consider Las Vegas, Atlantic City, Orlando at one end of the spectrum, and a small town MSA in the Midwest that has no tourism in it at the other end of the spectrum. We're right in the middle of that for possible economic impact or bad economic impact. But all of our community partners have really mobilized again since the beginning, and our goal is to prove that economists are wrong and come out of this even stronger than we have. It's going to be a little tough sledding in the beginning, but we think we are in a great position as we move forward from relief efforts that started the end of March to recovery that'll have started and will last a little bit longer. So our goal is to help restore our economy, protect the multitude of small businesses that we have, work at preparing the workforce, because the workforce will be changed, we think, from what it was on March 1st, what comes out of the recovery, and most importantly, return the revenue stream to those small businesses. We've done a few things so far that we'll hear about as we go forward today, but I want to turn it over to Joyce Kresh from the Small Business Development Center to talk about some relief, some recovery, and resilience work that's been done so far. Joyce?
Hi, thanks, Greg. Hello, everybody. I am the director of the Small Business Development Center that serves all of Augusta, Stanton, and Waynesboro, as well as the counties to the north and south. This screen that you see right now with the SBDC partners is just for you to look over real quick. but basically we serve both startup aspiring entrepreneurs, we serve established owners and businesses. That in fact is the majority of our service is to existing businesses. We serve nonprofits, and certainly we are partners to the folks you see here with economic development and all of the community resources, and we count them as very important to our mission to advise, train, and provide resources to help businesses grow and succeed. I would be remiss if I didn't mention James Madison University, who is our host and fiscal agent for the SBDC for 31 years come August. So we're very proud of our relationship with JMU. We're very grateful for our relationship with them and how they support us, as well as Blue Ridge Community College being a partner. You can switch the slide. So I just wanted to sort of give you an update on some of the things we've been doing since the middle of March. We left our offices on March 13th and have not been back. So we've all been working remotely, as well as most of the people, probably you included on the screen. During that first month, from the March 14th to the middle of April, we served 225 businesses remotely. Well, all of those were dealing with the COVID challenges, primarily with the loans, and I'm sure we talked to some of you as well. Of those at this point in time, 51 have already received their funding, 61 have been approved and are waiting just to get the deposits. So we have a little over 100 of those ready to close on their loans, and I'm sure we will, that number will increase over the next few weeks. And of that has been received, we're at almost 4 million in funding, 3.9 million in loans and grants that have come from the localities, as well as the SBA and the banks. So we're very proud of that fact. I guess we're just proud of the work that we've been doing, and we hope that we've served you efficiently and effectively. We've had some from Augusta County, not as many as we'd like, and so there's still an effort to reach out to your Augusta, Stanton, Waynesboro clients and let them know that we are available by email, by phone, and by video conference. The box at the bottom is sort of our key parts of our mission, and that is confidential consulting, no fee to the client. The training is almost all free at this point. We have occasionally charged for some programs, but right now we have a host of webinars, a host of Q&As, checklists, all sorts of resources for you, and those are all going to be free to you. We are very grateful that we are part of a national network of America's SBDCs. So not only do I have 8 amazing advisors in the Shenandoah Valley SBDC, but we have about 28 centers across the state with 50 plus advisors that we talk to almost every day. And the national across the country, if we want to reach out to an expert in a particular field, so we can reach those. So we are not just the Shenandoah Valley, although I have the most beautiful 2 mountain ranges and a valley of any SBDC in the country. I'll put us up against anybody. And I'm very, very happy to be here for 30 years. I've been here for 20. But I wanted you to know that we have resources far beyond the Shenandoah Valley. I think that's my last slide, Nick. Debbie Irwin is going to speak about some of the things that they do at Stanton Creative Community Fund.
Thanks, Joyce. As Joyce said, I'm Debbie Irwin. I'm the Executive Director of the Stanton Creative Community Fund. And we, like Joyce, have been very busy over the past couple of months. And so for the Stanton, Waynesboro, Augusta area, we've distributed 34 loans between the 3 localities. So Waynesboro handled their own, and then we worked with Augusta County to help them disseminate their funds. And then SCCF worked with the city of Stanton along with our own funds to be able to fund 34 small businesses with 0% loans. And then we did 180,000 across that area, and we had $446,500 available. We still have about $250,000 of that available to local businesses in our area. The first 6 months of those loans are paid for by the SBA if it is coming from the SCCF pot of money, because we are an SBA lender. So it's one thing that has been exciting, is to be able to get some of our clients partial forgiveness, because the SBA picked that up through the CARES Act debt relief program. A couple of the things that we're doing, along with many others, but the ones that we can highlight for now, is we launched a rebuild program on Monday. That rebuild program specifically focuses on helping businesses innovate their current business model. So if you have a retail shop that needs to be moving over to e-commerce, or if you have a restaurant that needs to be moving into different types of business model innovation, that class is going to take them through 10 weeks of learning those tools and how to reconnect to their customers now that their customers are a little bit more apprehensive about going out and about in the community. So we're looking forward to that. We have 10 participants in that. SCCF, along with a couple other partners, were able to pay for all of those seats. And so it's been free to our entrepreneurs. We will run that program again, and those seats will be scholarshiped again. And so anything that we can do to help our entrepreneurs start thinking a little bit differently. The other thing is we have submitted a proposal to Go Virginia. We are now finally through to the state board. We pitched it yesterday, and we got some really great feedback. It's called Startup Shenandoah Valley, and that program is specifically around helping businesses start up and start to expand. And so it's really about helping traded sector businesses get the tools and resources that they need in order to expand their operations, hire more individuals. So we'll be taking 28 entrepreneurs through acceleration programming over the next 2 years. And so we'll learn more about that by June 23rd, but that program will launch with us hiring 2 ecosystem builders. So if you know a kick butt person that's really good at connecting other people, go ahead and start sending them our way. But we really are looking forward to getting in touch with more entrepreneurs, starting to connect them across the valley, and really building a robust ecosystem. And I will hand it back over to Greg, I believe, or someone else.
I'll go. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Castle with Augusta County Economic Development and Tourism. Happy to be here with you all today. As businesses work towards reopening, and especially with phase 2 of Virginia's reopening happening this Friday, the task force has an important announcement, and we wanted all of you to be the first to hear. We will be offering a limited number of PPE kits for brick and mortar establishments in the Stanton, Augusta, Waynesboro region. The kits will be first come, first serve, as there are at this moment a limited number available, and businesses must have 15 or less employees. Contents will include masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, disinfectant, printed "We're Open" vinyl stickers that are removable and reusable, and a printed guide developed by task force partners detailing specific guidelines for reopening. We will be asking interested businesses to contact your local economic development office to officially apply. Your local economic developers will get an application to you to fill out as soon as possible. And then you can be on the lookout for more information on when and where kits will be distributed to eligible applicants who turned in the applications first. We know businesses are working so hard right now to get doors back open and reassure customers that it's safe to shop and venture back out into the community together. So our task force hopes this is a helpful token of appreciation as businesses start and or continue the work of opening back up to the public. We do want to add a huge thank you to the United Way for organizing these kits, and the Community Foundation for providing kits for nonprofits. This has been a hugely collaborative and cooperative effort, so thank you to all. And if you know of any businesses that could use these supplies, please reach out to your local economic development office.
Thanks, Rebecca. I'm Jay Langston. I am the Executive Director of the Shenandoah Valley Partnership. I want to just briefly go over the Scale Up the Valley project, which is a Go Virginia project. We received an award from the Go Virginia State Board to implement a second stage growth program. So this is not duplicative of what Joyce or Debbie have talked about. It's actually the next stage in many ways. It's for small, successful companies that are poised for the next stage of growth. Greg said something very important in the introduction to our call, and is that the vast majority of our businesses are small businesses. Thus, most of our economic growth comes from small businesses. So this program, known at the national level as an economic gardening program, which we've had to change the name in the Valley because everybody equates agriculture when you talk about economic gardening, but it's to bring the services and resources for those second stage growth companies to help them accelerate their growth to that next stage, to come from, you know, a person with 10 or 20 employees to a much bigger company long term, essentially growing our own here. This grant allows us, and working with our local economic development people, our chambers, to nominate small companies, and then for the grant to pay for half of the cost of going through this 12 to 16 week program, of where you can see on the slide the kinds of services that are provided. Frankly, value of services that are far greater than the cost of implementing this program. Good news, just as of yesterday, working with the National Center, we now have our engagement software in place. We are preparing all of our outreach materials. So we are essentially open for business, and this is sort of our first step out of the gate with letting people know that this program will be going live very shortly. So if you are a company, or if you know of a company that fits within this profile, please let your local economic developer know, and we can get companies enrolled for this. We will have room for approximately 25 companies over the next couple of years for this program. So we're excited about helping companies both now through this pandemic and in the future to grow our own here. And I'll turn it back over now to the support, the local initiative.
Katie, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I haven't learned yet. 10 weeks of doing this, I still haven't learned. Hi, folks. This is Katie Campbell with the Tourism Office here in Stanton, Virginia, here to talk about our Support Local campaign and other initiatives that we have been running due to COVID-19. Like everyone else, we had to pivot very quickly because of the changing landscape and the impact that we were all feeling because of COVID-19. And we came up with our Support Local campaign, which has 3 different components. It was Shop Local, Give Local, and Remember Local. Throughout this process, it was really been amazing to see the resilience and creativity of our businesses and nonprofits, and we really wanted to try to capture that and promote what they were doing. So with the shop local component, we were really encouraging residents, if they can, get out, do takeout, purchase gift cards from your local businesses, consider online shopping. Many of our brick and mortar stores now have online shopping abilities or capabilities. So it's really been great to see them grow and develop in that regard. The Give Local, we really wanted to showcase those virtual experiences offered by our area attractions, those performances by the American Shakespeare Center, those hands-on workshops that they're now offering, and how you can give back to those organizations like the Heifetz, who are also offering online performances. And then, of course, Remember Local, again, the Woodrow Wilson Library, the Frontier Culture Museum, and how they are adapting in this situation and what kind of opportunities they're offering locals and visitors alike. So each ad had a dedicated a dedicated blog post that took people to our website. And this information also went out over in our newsletters. The highest performing ad was actually the Give Local, which was promoting our area arts organizations. The second highest performing ad was our Remember Local, which again is telling our unique story, which was kind of surprising because we thought the biggest impact would be the Buy Local, which although it didn't get a lot of link clicks, it really had a lot of great engagement. In terms of post reactions, we had almost 1,000, post shares 140. And I think what I really want to show you is the comments. As you can see, there were some people really chiming in. We wanted to encourage people to talk about how they were supporting local. And you can see that with these comments from people, you know, we've got table 44 for the win again this weekend. So people really excited to share how they're supporting local. So now I'm going to throw it to Jennifer, who's going to talk about the initiatives that Waynesboro is doing.
Thanks, Katie. This is Jennifer Callison in the Waynesboro Department of Economic Development and Tourism. Similarly to Stanton and many other tourism offices across the state, we've pivoted our messaging also from really visitor focused to local focused, trying to build that sense of community within Waynesboro and encourage our local citizens to get out and support their small businesses. All of our social media messaging transitioned from, you know, trying to entice travelers to come to Waynesboro to just encouraging locals to get out and about around town, showing them maybe some things that they didn't even know were in town. And we've had some great engagement on social media as well. We also did some new blogs and rewrote some old blogs to have some COVID-friendly messaging about you know, exploring Waynesboro from home or perusing virtual art galleries with the Shenandoah Valley Arts Center and the Wayne Theater and even the Waynesboro Heritage Museum. And shopping Waynesboro favorite stores online. As Katie mentioned, a lot of brick and mortar locations did add an online component to their business operations, which has been great to see. We pushed out a lot of this local messaging in our weekly newsletters, and we've been trying to feature at least one local business weekly, kind of the efforts that they are making to endure this challenging situation. We also developed a Google Doc early on in the situation, which started with just restaurants and their business operations to grow to include the breweries and all of our local businesses. And so we're trying to keep that up to date with hours and the offerings that they currently have. Next slide. So yesterday, actually, we just released our Boost grant, which is the Building Opportunities to Support Tourism grant program here in Waynesboro. It's been around for a long time, and we felt that it was important to keep it again this year. Prior to COVID-19, the grant placed a large emphasis on funding for large events. And this year, with the event situation kind of up in the air still, we wanted to make it a little bit more open-ended to just include all sorts of projects that any small businesses or organizations come up with to drive traffic to Waynesboro. Next slide. And very soon, we hope to launch a new Buy Local program. This will just be aimed at locals again, trying to get them out and about in the community, it's going to closely align with phase 2 reopening. So it'll be right in time with a lot of our businesses opening their doors again. And it's meant to just encourage families to get out and about in a fun, interactive way to explore downtown Waynesboro. So stay tuned for more information. Next slide. And I'll send it back to Katie to talk about some regional initiatives.
So the Greater Augusta Regional Tourism Office has a project called Shenandoah Beer Works Trail. And if you haven't gotten your passport, well, our breweries are starting to open up. So I suggest you go out and pick up that passport, get your 8 stamps and an awesome t-shirt. But talking about support local and drink local initiatives, we have, like we've been talking about, we had to, again, pivot our messaging and really talk about the changing circumstances surrounding the pandemic and these local initiatives and how locals can still experience the beer trail by pairing it with outdoor activities that are safe and free, like hiking and paddling, fishing, and other safe activities. And then, of course, picking up your favorite craft beer on your way home from that outdoor activity. So we've really been pushing those outdoor rec opportunities, pairing it with a beer pickup on the way home. And then we've also started a local ad campaign with a dedicated blog post featuring our Beerworks breweries that are offering beer to go, gift card purchases, t-shirts, whatever it is. Some are even selling hot sauces and maple syrup. So there's all types of things that folks can take advantage of while they can't actually visit their favorite brewery. So we have a great slideshow ad that is playing, and we are updating this blog post frequently as the situation changes and we move from phase to phase through Forward Virginia and our complete reopening. So let's see. And then we can go ahead and talk about our SAW marketing initiatives. Sorry, I have so many different things open. Let's see. So together again, we are pulling our funding to do a three-phased approach to inviting visitors back. We really thought it was best to work together. So we're taking a regional approach and developing a multi-phase marketing plan, first targeted at locals and then eventually visitors. This first phase, which we are just starting to work on, are those staycation ideas to build confidence among locals and encourage them to get out and explore in their own backyard. I don't know about you, but I've been doing a lot of that with my own family, looking for things that we can do in our own area. We're going to pair that with some really great ads, reconnecting with family and friends. So, you know, you haven't seen your girlfriends in a while. How can you reconnect with them? What are some things that you can do in the area? We also want to provide day trip ideas that are safe for people to do and that focus on our outdoor recreation, our farm experiences, again, our favorite Beerworks Trail, and of course, shopping and dining. We will have a dedicated landing page with ads that will run across our social channel, which we are in the process of creating. Stanton, Augusta, and Waynesboro each have our own social channels, but for this regional project, we've decided that we wanted to create a SAW Facebook and Instagram handle or page, if you will. So we're excited about this effort. And then, let's see, of course, phase 2, really talking about what travel is going to look like in this post-COVID-19 world. It's going to look very different. And so we want to show people that we're taking it very seriously here in the Valley, that we want to ensure the health and safety of visitors to the Valley, and really promoting those safety measures that the tourism offices are taking, that our area partners have put in place to ensure the health and safety of the employees, our visitors, our residents, and really providing guidance to those travelers who are considering visiting the Shenandoah Valley. And then our third phase is what we're calling On the Road Again, really advertising those affordable and fun vacation options in the Valley, creating trip ideas for families and couples who are looking to finally get away. They finally feel comfortable breaking out of their house. So we'll build some trip ideas with another landing page, and we'll probably have some videos in between phases 2 and 3. And that will start in late summer, early fall. We are really we are following the guidelines of VTC, the Virginia Tourism Corporation, pretty closely. And what they have been telling us is that they're really going to start advertising in mid-August. So I think we'll sort of be on that same pace. So that's our 3-phased approach, with phase 1 starting hopefully next week. So I hope you will all start to see and be barraged with lots of ads. And then lastly, just wanted to touch on Stanton's Outdoor Dining Initiative. If you haven't heard, we're closing Beverly Street starting this Friday, June 5th at 5 o'clock. This will allow our businesses or restaurants that have restaurants on Beverly Street to open up, to have tables on the sidewalks and leading out into the street. And we are gonna just play it by ear week by week and see how it goes. It sounds like we have about 6 restaurants participating. So we are excited to roll this initiative out, and we hope that you will come downtown and check it out. I'm gonna throw it back to Jennifer so she can also talk about their outdoor dining.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, just real quickly, it's been great to see a lot of the Waynesboro restaurants get creative to offer new services to their guests. Some have created new outdoor dining spaces, some are enlarging existing outdoor dining spaces, and some are even offering outdoor concerts to entertain their guests in large grassy areas or even in the back parking lot. In the case of Heritage on Main Street, and then the Fish and Pig has had some outdoor concerts that seem to be successful. So it's just been really great to see the creativity and how everyone is adapting to this ever evolving situation. Thank you.
So thank you to our speakers, and as promised, we have plenty of time for questions. They see a couple in the chat, which we'll get to in a second. But just as a recap, your community partners have really collaborated to work through this, from relief to recovery and resiliency in the future. There's been over $4 million worth of cash infused into small businesses in the area, with well over 200 companies helped. The task force has produced 2 products so far: the Handbook of Reopening, which is available from the Chamber website, as well as probably every partner's website, and also the free PPE Kits, which you were the first to hear about today. That announcement will be going out as soon as this webinar is over to the rest of the world. And also working on 3 stages of rebuilding your small business, from the Co-Starter program to Valley Startup, the Economic Gardening program that Jay talked about, to the proposed startup Shenandoah Valley. So really 3 sets of resources to help businesses go from little to accelerated. Overall, our goal is to really work with all of our companies, small and large, nonprofits and for-profit, as we work to restore the economy, protect every small business that's out there, prepare the workforce. That's just beginning to happen. So I saw some of our partners at Blue Ridge Community College on the call, and working with them on how to position future training and future methods for people who may not go back to work. How can we retrain them for some different job in the future? And then finally, restoring everyone's revenue stream, whether that's through tourism, bringing outside people in, or getting our own citizens used to going out and about visiting in stores again. So I'll open up to questions. I notice there's someone in the chat. And again, as Kim mentioned, you can unmute yourself and then just ask questions. Thank you again.
Thank you all so much. You guys have provided such great information, and thank you for all the work that you're doing for our community. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the questions we have in the chat, and then we'll open it up for any verbal questions that we might have. The first one was about nonprofits and loans. And so Debbie, if you don't mind just unmuting yourself and let us know. I know you answered in the chat, but if you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Sure thing. So one of the things that has always been a difficult hurdle for SCCF is SBA has never allowed us to lend to nonprofits. But over the past 5 years in particular, we've been able to build up our own pot of money. And so we now have our own revolving loan fund that we manage ourselves and is board directed. So we do have money available to lend to nonprofits. We are still determining the scope of that work. And what exactly those terms are going to be. They're probably going to look very similar to all the other loans that we do, which is 0% loans up to $5,000. But we need a better understanding from Dan Lehman and his team and the surveys that they received to understand where we need to go next in order to do those loans. We've also had the direct request from Dan to retool the rebuild program. So we'll be offering the rebuild program to nonprofits as well, based on Dan's feedback, as well as a couple other nonprofit execs. And then the last thing that we're doing is we are getting together a nonprofit executive director cohort where it's a peer-to-peer mentorship and learning group. And so once we have gotten that first session down and starting to understand how we do that, we'll start looking at adding more executive directors and creating multiple groups for that as well. And so that started with a core group so we could kind of fumble our way through things and figure out how it needs to work. And then we'll go from there once we have a better understanding of that programming.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Debbie. The next question was, what restaurants are participating in the Dine Out downtown?
So currently we know of 6 different restaurants. Blue Point, our new seafood restaurant, the 101, which is also new, Baja Bean, Yelping Dog, Shenandoah Pizza, and I'm missing one. Billy, Amanda, can you help me out here? And I did see there's another question about reservations. Yeah, it's really up to the restaurant whether they handle reservations or not. And from our communication with the restaurants, we have heard that only a few are going to be offering reservations. I think that will change from week to week. This first week is really going to be kind of an experiment, if you will. And I think they will be making modifications as we go, as we learn and we move on from week to week.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I think we just have Joyce listed a couple of resources that are available. So please check out that website for more information on that. And then I'll just lastly turn it over to see if we have any questions that anybody wants to ask verbally. All right, well, you guys provided so much information, they don't have any questions. How amazing is that? Well, thank you all so much for joining us. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, this is being recorded and will be posted on our website later today, and we will also share it on our Facebook page. Thank you again to all of you for everything you do in our community. It's so great that we're able to work together and do so much for this great community that we work and live in. So with that, thank you all so much, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thank you. Bye.